What's going on, my fantasy basketball fans? Welcome to the Score Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I'm Waiver Queen. Today, I am going to do a mock draft with the Sleeper app. So let's get started with that. Sleeper app, they have a nice format for fantasy basketball as well. The setup is a little different. You pick a player who's on your team and you pick a specific game for that week that you think they're going to score maybe the most points. So we are about to jump right into it. Let's get started, y'all. As you can see at the top, you is the same setup with the fantasy basketball. I mean, with the fantasy football, you just will start draft at the top and get it going. And that's what we're about to do here. Let's see. And I'll kind of just talk about some players who I like, because I like a lot of players, okay? For real. Telling you. So I'm in the ninth place this time around. I don't see why I wouldn't draft LeBron. I think it's kind of crazy in some you'll see some rankings that don't have LeBron James in the top 10. When you are a 27, 7-7, or 28, 8-8, you are in the top 10. And to me, LeBron is still one of, if not best players in the NBA. So I'm gonna go with LeBron and KD to get it started for my team. Let's see. So now with Kawhi, the strange thing about him is he going to start the season? I don't think he's going to be available to start the season. So I think that you're going to have to consider someone else. Drafting him that high, I wouldn't do, because I don't think he's going to be available that early on. So I'm going to keep it going with one of my players I really love, Zion Williamson, this season. I expect to see all of his stats increase. The Pelicans did not get the players that they thought they would in free agency at the guard position. So with Zion Williamson, he had a really good season last year. I expected him to average more assists last season. Only averaged about 3. I definitely can see that increasing to about 6, 7. He has the capabilities to get you triple doubles on any given night. Another one of my players that I really am high on this year is Mr. Ja Morant. I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's just really, really good. I'm sorry. The kid is just super talented. Statistically, you should see all of his stats increase this season as well, because he's just really that good. I want to see him increase his assist and his 3-point field goal percentage. I think that's going to help him out tremendously this year. Another player I really love drafting is Valanciunas. I always get his name wrong, but he's been solid. He's good for a double double, and he's going to shoot a high field goal percentage, and that is important. I'm just gonna really pick some players that I really like, who I really love in this draft. Christian Wood is another player that I really love in this draft for fantasy this year. He averaged 20 and 9 on the season, and after that, injuries kind of messed up his season, but I don't see why he wouldn't. And then you figure he is on a team that has a really talented young backcourt in Porter and Green, so I expect him to play well. And I'm just keeping it going with players I really love this season. LaMelo Ball, obviously one of my favorites, was one of my favorites last year going into the season, one of my favorites this season. He has the capabilities to average a triple double, to not for the season average, but you'll definitely see those stats increase dramatically. He's going to be the starting point guard for the entire season. He's going to rebound. He's going to pass. So most nights you'll see him flirting with the triple double. Definitely good for a double double on most nights. I want to see his shooting percentage go up. He has to get that 3-point percentage up. And I want to see more assists and rebounds out of him because see how tall he is? He's tall as hell. Another player, keeping it up with players I really like, the Jonte Murray. Now, with the San Antonio Spurs, they don't play their guys a lot of minutes. I want to see his minutes increase, and he has the potential to average 16, 5, and at least 6. However, that 3-point percentage is a huge issue for him. He's going to have to increase that. Let's look strictly at some centers here that I'm going to consider this draft. So I got one center that I really love, two, because Woods is a center. So another center I'm going to go with, I'm not going to do it. Let's go way down here. Let's see. And I'm just drafting this person based on just because I want to talk about him. So Robert Williams, I know this is a big reach, but I'm drafting him just to talk a bit about him and what I expect to see from him this season. So we all know that the Boston Celtics traded for Al Horford. They bringing Al Horford back. Okay, so what? Robert Williams is really good. The issue with him is he's never healthy. He showed signs early on in the postseason before he got hurt. If he can stay healthy, he's definitely going to be taking minutes from Al Horford, and he should be taking minutes from him. And I'll talk about another player I really like in a few. Let's do this so I can talk about two players I really like. Okay, so LeVert, another player I really like. He's only going to get you points, so I'm not expecting much from him in any other category but points. So he's going to be good for 20. If he can start adding to his game in regards to more rebounds, that'll make him an even more appealing option at shooting guard. But until then, it's just points. But he's going to score the ball. So expect that from him this season with the Pacers. Powell, I like him too. I love his production that he can give off the bench. He's someone I'll be looking to add as one of my early on players from my bench. He is the starter. You figure Melo is gone, so he doesn't have to worry about any minutes taken away from him because Melo is still there. He's going to shoot a high percentage from threes, and he's going to at least give you 18 points. But that's all he's going to give you. So if you're looking for a guard for your bench, he's a solid add. And in category-based leagues, if you are looking for someone who's going to shoot a really good 3-point percentage, it's going to be him. So check for him. Let's get another one going. How about that? We're going to do one more and just kind of talk about some other players that we really love this season in fantasy basketball. I mean, you got to know that when you are building your team, it's not just about the starters. You have to make sure you build a solid bench because let's face it, injuries, COVID protocol, load management, because they love that load management crap. I hate the load management. And other issues. Players are going to be off, rest, several different things. So you can't just focus on the starters. Your bench is a huge, huge part of your team, and you have to concern yourself with that as well. So we're doing another mock. I'm in an A slot. I didn't even select. So 2019? I think it was 2019. I drafted Steph, and that was the season that he pretty much missed most of the year. So that kind of hurt me. I'm not a big fan of Karl Anthony Towns. So Steph is definitely a player I will consider here. Or if I see my boy, well, he's not here. So LeBron's not here. So that's who I was going to go with. So I'm going to end up skipping over Steph. People may say I'm crazy. And I'm just going to go straight with Kevin Durant. Yes, Kevin Durant is going to get me about 28 points. He's going to shoot a really good percentage from the field. He's going to get me rebounds and assists too. So he's going to fill up the stats for me, which I really need. So right here is another player I really love. And I always draft. I'll tell you 2 players I always draft. I always end up with Bradley Beal and Devin Booker on my team. I don't know if, for some reason every year I really love those 2 guys. And with Bill, as you can see what he did this past season with his points, he averaged over 30 points per game. He's gonna hit threes for you. So Bradley Bill, expect that and then some this season. So check for Bradley Bill and prioritize him. Another player I want to talk about, and I'm going to just draft him here, is Paul George. You're going to see his production increase because we don't know what's going to happen with Kawhi. So if say Kawhi is not going to be available to start the season or for the entire season, you can expect Paul George's production to increase drastically. He showed us glimpses this past postseason that he was capable of leading that team, and you should expect him to continue to do that this season and score more. So he was averaging about 23 points per game. I can see that going up a bit. I can see him having the ball in his hands a lot. So you'll see his assist totals go up. Let's see. I'm staying away from Kimba. Staying away from him. I'll go right here and I'll talk about him a little bit. So another player who's going to see a lot of minutes for the Clippers is Reggie Jackson. He played his butt off this past postseason. He should be the starter. They shouldn't be playing around with his minutes like they were doing throughout the season. He's going to have a really, really good year, and he's going to pick up some of that slack with Kawhi out. So consider him. Consider him for real. Another player I love, Michael Porter Jr. I expect him to average 22, 23 points per game this season, and he's going to get you some rebounds. I would love to see him elevate his game and start getting a few more assists and work on that defense, because then he's going to be a more appealing player fantasy, because I like players who get me who can fill up the stats, several different categories. I don't like a player who can just say score. I need more than just scoring. And right now, he's going to get you points, and then he's also going to get you some rebounds. So that's not bad. So expect more from him this season, but I really want to see him start working on his defense. So then that's going to make him an even more appealing player. LaMelo is obviously always a player I draft. I love Melo's game. One of my favorites. Let me go down here and get another player I really like this season. Jared Allen. I know the Cavs are a really bad team. I don't care. He should be good for at least 12, and he should be averaging at least 12, 13 rebounds a game and a few blocks. So I want to see that from him this year, and I expect to see that from him this year. They got Lauri Markkanen. They drafted Evan Mobley. I'm not checking for Kevin Love. He's not a part of their rebuild. They should be looking to move him. They've been moving him for the last 3-4 years, and he's still with the team. He should not have an impact on Allen's minutes. Allen is going to produce for you this year. Let's see. I'm just going to keep it up with some players that I really like. Okay, another player I like. We're going to talk about him. Well, let me draft him first before I run out of time. Y'all is not drafting him. Sleeper app playing with me. So Spencer Dinwiddie is another player I really love this season. And I'll tell you a few reasons why. I'm going to go all the way down and just add another player I really like in fantasy this season. So let's talk about Dinwiddie. Okay, so Dinwiddie didn't play much last season with BK. He got out of there. He should be the starting point guard for the Washington Wizards this season, and at least give you 20 points, and some assists. And he should shoot a solid percentage from the field. So he's definitely a reliable guard for you in fantasy. And I'll talk about Jalen Green, and then let me go add another. I want to go deep into my waiver wire. Okay, so I'll go right here, deep into my fantasy sleepers, late sleepers. So let's talk about Jalen Green and what Jalen Green is going to do. He's just going to score the ball for you this year. He is in a really good position. He's in a good location. He has a nice backcourt mate in Kevin Porter. So those two going to work well together. And then you add Wood to the mix. Jalen is going to score the ball. So 17, between 17 and 20 points per game. He's not going to shoot really high percentage from the field, but nonetheless, he's a good player to add to your bench. I don't expect to see him on a waiver wire. Okay, he should not be a free agent. And if you are in a dynasty league, great young player to build around. And then let's talk about Jordan Clarkson. I always look at Jordan Clarkson and end up adding him, and he always produces for me. He's one of those players that I can always rely on when one of my starters are out. He's always on waivers. He's always in free agency, and then everyone notices that, oh, he's going to get you some points. That's all he's really going to do, and that helps. Again, I will stress that when you are building your team in the draft, it's not just your starters. You have to consider building a solid bench, and a player like Jordan Clarkson is a reliable player, especially in deep leagues, off of your bench to help you throughout the season. Don't wait till the season starts and he starts playing well and then you pick him up via free agency. You see that a lot, and why risk it? Why not pick him up late in one of your drafts? Okay. All right, y'all. Hit that like button and subscribe for more of the Score Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I'm Waiver Wire Queen. Peace.